Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So I just want to talk today about exact entries, targets, stop loss, etc. Because that seems to be something. No one said anything negative, right? But in regard to this recent long here, at 2,900, I was calling for 2,150 to 2,200. And we got down here, and a couple people said, "Oh, my orders didn't get tagged." Essentially, why? Why didn't my orders get tagged? And of course, I got in. Because, and I'll tell you why. So first things first is I'm not going to provide exact entries, targets, or stops, and there's a very good reason why. It has nothing to do with trying to LARP on you or anything. I literally called all this in advance. I called it from 2,900. Everyone said, no way it's going down. It went down, and then I called the bounce. Okay, so it's not a LARP, right? The reason I'm not sharing the exact entry is because if I tell someone, hey, I'm entering exactly at 2190, then what's going to happen is everyone's going to put their entry at 2191 or at 2194, and I'm going to get front run. And it's not only, obviously, it's just natural. That's just what people are going to do. And it wouldn't only be my community, because we know how ideas spread on CT. So especially with, all these new bull-tard accounts that got humbled by the crash, and now they actually have to learn how to trade. I definitely see some people all of a sudden, taking some of my ideas, so to say. I don't really want to try to sound too full of myself, but I mean, one or two times is a coincidence, but 3 or 4 times is pretty obvious if you're posting the same ideas as me 30 minutes later. And these guys have 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 followers. So not only will it be my 45,000 followers trying to get an entry, or, however many are active, right? Or whoever many are, thinking about playing around with the idea or taking the trade or whatever you want to say. But then you also have their 80,000, that person's 100,000, and these ideas move around. So then you have all these orders clustered in one spot. So that's why I'm not going to say, hey, I'm entering exactly here, because people are going to front run me. I'm providing the information for free. It's not a signal group. So I'm going to give you a rough area, and you can decide where you want to enter. The levels that I chart are what I believe are the technically correct, proper levels. Okay, we're not really going to get into that. But if you see a level on my chart, that's where I believe we should be bouncing from, or where I believe we should be rejecting from. Okay, you can see this level here, and you can see this level here. I got slightly front run. Okay, I layered this area a bit, right? I did some layering. If you are new to that, it just means that, instead of having one exact entry point, I'm just chopping up my overall position into a couple different layers. And, typically I'll get anywhere between half a fill, or, if it goes all the way deep, you get a full fill. You could do even like an iceberg, or like a reverse iceberg, where you have your more, say you enter 30% here, then you enter 20% here, then, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, like a reverse iceberg. It really all depends on the scenario. That's why I put out something that said today, it's not about where price is going, like the exact prediction of direction, etc. It's about finding the support and the resistance levels, finding your invalidation, setting the risk, and that's 95% of it, right? The other 5% is these little nuances of, taking profits in tranches, so to say, and, sometimes front running, sometimes leaning back into it a little bit. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense in terms of why I don't provide the exact entry, target, stop, etc. And when it comes to targets too, look, someone asked, are you taking profit at 26.10 rather than 26.50? And I said, yeah, of course. I'll show you why. Look, here's the thing that a lot of people don't think about. Trading is about being in a type of a flow. Okay, you want to get into a flow. You don't want stress. You don't want any of that stuff to build up, anxiousness to build up, right? So I wanted to just, get off the computer for a bit before. I saw a price at 26.10. Do I want to just sit there and just wait and say, I hope 26.50 hits, and if 26.50 doesn't hit and it reverses, then I'm going to lose all that money? No, I'm like all the way there. All right, so let me just mark this out real quick. Say the trade was like this, right? This was roughly what my trade looked like. And we got towards 26.10. Okay, it's a 2.7 R. At 26.50, it would have been a 3R. Okay, so for some people, the difference between 2.7R or 2.77R and 3R could be, depending on what size you trade with, it could be, hundreds of thousands, it could be millions, who knows. But for most people, it's going to be a difference of, a few $100, maybe, a few $1,000. But that doesn't even matter. None of the numerical stuff matters. All that matters is what you're getting risk-wise or what you're getting reward-wise versus your risk. Okay, so there's not a big difference between 2.7 and 3. That's why I locked in, because I'm keeping my flow rolling. I'm not trying to get anxious about the trade. I'm not trying to stare at the screen. It's not a big deal. Okay, that's why I didn't need exactly 2150. That's why I started orders a little bit below 2200. I was like, look. And then when I saw it coming down, I was like, okay, better add a little bit more, because some of my layers were a tad bit lower, but they weren't fully getting filled. And then I got in more, and then I posted to CT once I got in. But obviously, all the stuff was already laid out ahead of time. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, is that if we're at 2,900, and I'm telling you that literally my tweet says word for word, one of my tweets says I'm looking to long 2150 to 2200, okay? There it is. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm not handling your funds. I can't travel across the world and hit the buy button for you. If you miss, you miss, and you got to wait for the next one. That's another thing to cover, is a lot of people always ask, oh, can I still get in? Can I still get in? Okay, so you want to still get in up here. Whoops, wrong tool. So you want to still get in up here, right? Okay, well, now you have a 0.59 risk reward. Absolutely horrible. If you haven't seen, I have a tweet. Just scroll back on my feed a little bit. I talk about risk reward for beginners. You want typically between a 2 and a 3 risk reward. That's your optimal area, especially as a beginner trader. Yeah, we covered the reason I'm not providing exact entries, TPs, all that, front running, slippage on the stop loss, right? So I tell everyone that my stop loss is 2048. What happens? Everyone's going to put their stop at 2848.2, and then all those orders are going to get hit, and it's going to slip me 6 points, and I'm going to get slipped while everyone else gets a free ride. Like, no, okay? So that's not how it works. So if I give you a general idea, as always, none of this, all I'm doing is reporting what I'm doing. If you want to follow, that's completely on you. And you have to, when it comes down to crunch time and execution time, that's on you. You find your way in or you don't, I don't know. I'm doing my best to try to guide people along the way and give the ideas way ahead of time. We're planning way ahead of time. I find it hard to believe, outside of, a couple people I've seen, that I respect on there, like SC, I'm not seeing a lot of people who are really planning stuff deep ahead of time and, executing on it. Okay, so hopefully this is all helpful. Catch you guys soon. Peace.